The snow crunches under your bare feet. You're cold, you're starving, and you're being hunted. Behind you echoes a sound more terrifying than any roar. A shrill, bone-chilling laugh. It's not human, it's not friendly. And it's getting closer. You've just entered the hunting ground of the ice. Age's most misunderstood killer, the ancient hyena. Do you really think you can outlast it? Forget everything you think you know about hyenas. The giggling scavengers of today's savanna. They're toddlers compared to their Ice Age ancestors. Crocuta spelea, also known as the cave hyena, wasn't just larger, it was a beast. Built for war. It roamed from Europe to Asia, a stocky, muscular predator that could crack bones like breadsticks and chase prey across frozen wastelands without blinking. Picture something the size of a modern lion, but broader in the chest and with jaws strong enough to crush an elephant femur. Its front limbs were longer and more powerful than its hind legs, giving it a hunched, almost bear-like silhouette. And those jaws? Scientists estimate they could bite down with over 1,100 pounds of pressure, enough to obliterate marrow-rich bones in seconds. The ancient hyena didn't just feed, it dismantled. But it wasn't just physical power that made them terrifying. They were also social hunters, forming packs that worked together with chilling efficiency. Fossil evidence from caves across Eurasia shows clusters of bones from prey species like horses, bison, and even woolly rhinos, creatures that wouldn't go down without a fight. These weren't the leftovers of other predators. These were trophies, and unlike the solitary saber-tooth or the ambush-loving cave lion, cave hyenas could run you down. Their long-distance stamina meant there was nowhere to hide once they caught your scent. And that laugh we associate with modern hyenas? Imagine that sound echoing through a frozen valley under moonlight. Not comedy, pure horror. So, now that you've met the monster, are you ready to face it? Predators kill to survive, but cave hyenas? They plan to kill. Behind those sloped skulls and low-slung shoulders was a brain wired not just for instinct, but for strategy. These creatures weren't the mindless brutes some imagine. They could assess threats, track prey for miles, and even stage group ambushes. Modern-day spotted hyenas already show signs of intelligence comparable to some primates solving puzzles, forming alliances, even recognizing individuals by voice. So now imagine their Ice Age ancestors, honed by an environment where mistakes meant death. The frozen steppe wasn't forgiving, and only the smartest survived. These hyenas had to outwit not only prey, but rival predators like saber-toothed cats, cave lions, and yes, humans. That rivalry shows up in surprising places: bones. Across Eurasia, archaeologists have found hyena-chewed human remains in caves and human-chewed hyena bones, too. This was no one-sided war. It was a brutal back and forth. A competition of cunning. Sometimes they stole our kills. Sometimes we stole theirs. But often, it ended with one species eating the other. One infamous find in France revealed a human child's skull, bearing clear hyena bite marks. In another cave, bones of hyena cubs were discovered split open by stone tools, evidence that Ice Age humans may have raided dens for food or fur. It was kill or be killed. And the hyenas knew it. So when you imagine yourself in their world, don't just picture claws and teeth. Picture a predator watching you from the shadows, calculating. Not charging blindly, but waiting for the perfect moment, when you're weak, alone, and surrounded. And when that laugh finally comes, that's not madness. That's the sound of confidence. If you want to know what scared ancient humans, look where they didn't dare sleep: caves dominated by hyena clans. These predators weren't just passing through, they owned territory. Paleontologists have uncovered enormous bone accumulations in former hyena dens, some with thousands of fragments from horses, deer, bison, woolly rhinos, and even mammoths. The message is clear. They were not bottom feeders, they were apex opportunists. One famous site, the Cave of the Hyenas in eastern Europe revealed layer upon layer of remains, many of them cracked open for marrow, with tooth marks that match hyena jaws perfectly. What's eerie is how organized the kill zones were. Large bones dragged deep into the cave. Smaller ones scattered near the entrance. Even skulls piled together in strange patterns, like trophies or warnings. These weren't solitary kills. Other bite marks from multiple individuals on a single carcass show pack feeding, with adults and even cubs gnawing side by side. And the caves? They doubled as maternity wards. Cubs were raised inside these fortresses of bone, protected by an inner circle of fierce adult guardians. For humans, competing with that kind of predator meant one of two things: adapt or die. Stone tools sharpened, fires lit at cave mouths, walls painted with warnings or prayers. Some anthropologists even argue that humanity's earliest concept of monsters in the dark may have been inspired by real-life encounters with cave hyenas. So now that you've seen their power, their intelligence, and their terrifying homes, one question remains. If you had to survive in their world, no fire, no weapons, just your wits, what's your move? Because once that laugh starts echoing through the cold night, you're not alone anymore. You're cold, you're barefoot, and you're not supposed to be here. The Ice Age doesn't care if you're clever or cautious. It only cares that you're alone, unarmed, and very, very edible. Around you, the frozen tundra stretches endlessly. Jagged mountains slice the sky in the distance, but between here and there is nothing but wind, snow, and silence. Until you hear the first sound, crunching behind you. Not heavy like a mammoth, not quiet like a cat. Something deliberate. You've stumbled into hyena country. It doesn't look like much. Just a wide open landscape broken by a few hills and shallow caves. But this is their domain. And you're standing in a perfect kill zone. A gently sloping basin with only one exit and nowhere to hide. These predators have used terrain like this for generations, herding prey downhill and attacking. When they tire, you're not the first target here, and you won't be the last. You try climbing a ridge. The snow's too deep. You consider doubling back, but your tracks are already filling in with fresh flakes. And then it comes, a sound that doesn't belong. In the wind, a laugh, high-pitched, carried by the breeze. Not funny, not human. You freeze not out of fear, but instinct. Something primal inside you knows. You've just been marked, not chased, not attacked, marked, because this isn't a sprint, this is a hunt. And the thing hunting you has patience. You've become part of the landscape, just another meal that hasn't yet realized it's on the menu. You start moving carefully, quietly, but it doesn't matter. They already know where you are. You're not being chased. You're being watched. And that's worse. Cave hyenas don't attack right away. That's a rookie move. These Ice Age tacticians prefer to circle, study, wear you down. First, they isolate you. Then, they drain you. And finally, when your body betrays you, they close in. You glance over your shoulder. Nothing. But that doesn't mean you're alone. These hunters use the terrain like a weapon. One slips behind a boulder. Another vanishes into a gully. You'll never see the full pack until it's too late. Your breath clouds the air. Your feet sting from the frozen ground. Every crunch of snow beneath you feels like it's announcing your weakness. And still they don't strike. Why? Because they're gauging you. Testing your speed, your endurance. Are you strong? Smart? Worth the risk? You come across a frozen carcass, a deer, half buried in the snow. Its ribs gnawed clean. Around it, huge paw prints. Too big for a wolf. Spaced too far apart for a bear. And there, right at the edge, small tracks, cubs. This isn't just hunting ground, it's a nursery. You've walked into the worst possible situation. A protective pack, possibly with young nearby. That laugh you heard earlier, it wasn't taunting. It was a signal. A low growl drifts through the air, not close, not far. You spin around, heart pounding, still nothing. But you can feel it now. Deep in your bones, the attention. You're no longer a stranger here. You're a challenge. A test. The kind of test cave hyenas loved. The wind shifts. Suddenly, the scent of blood hits your nose. Not old blood, not frozen. Fresh. Something just died nearby. Or something's being used as bait. You crouch low. You've read about hyenas before, how they scavenge, how they're clumsy, cowardly. But that idea belongs in textbooks, not tundras. Out here, these predators don't wait for something to die. They make it happen, and your next-not instinct takes over. You grab a thick branch. Not a weapon too brittle to be a spear, but it's something. You find a loose rock. It's smooth, heavy, could be thrown. Maybe, but you already know. If it comes to a fight, you're done. And that's when you hear it again. Laughter. Not one voice, several. High, staggered, overlapping like echoes inside your head. It's all around you. You can't see them, but they can see you. They're not warning you. They're communicating, sharing your location with each other. Maybe even testing your nerves. Then, movement. A flash of fur through the trees. A shadow darting to your left. Another behind you. They're not attacking, they're pushing, herding you towards something. A slope, a blind turn. A den. This isn't a chase. It's a maneuver. You sprint bad. Move, your feet slip. The cold burns your lungs. And that's exactly what they want. For you to panic, to drain your energy, to lose your grip on the situation. You're faster in short bursts. They're faster over time. And time is the one thing they have more of than you. No fire. No shelter. No backup. Just the cold, the dark, and the laughing dead of the Ice Age. You fall to your knees. Not from fear, from realization. You're no longer trying to escape. Now, you're just trying to last. Okay, pause. Let's reset the scene. You're cold, exhausted, hunted. But you're not helpless. And you're definitely not the first human to face this threat. Our ancestors survived in this world for tens of thousands of years. Without GPS. Without rifles. Just sticks, stones, and strategy. The fact that we're here today proves one thing. They learned how to beat monsters, like the ancient hyena. So now the question is, how? First, shelter. Humans of the Ice Age understood that caves could be deadly if already claimed by predators. Instead, they built windbreaks using bones, hides, and stone, temporary huts, designed to keep warmth in and threats out. You need to find a defensible spot with limited approach angles, maybe a rock outcropping or a shallow cliffside. Somewhere you can see them coming. Next, fire. No lighter, no matches, but you've got friction and flint. Early humans used dry moss or cattail fluff, crushed between bark, to catch a spark. If you can manage that, even a small flame is enough to turn a predator's curiosity into caution. Hyenas aren't afraid of humans, but they respect fire, now weapons. A spear isn't just a tool, it's a psychological line in the sand. Cave hyenas can overpower you, sure. But they're not looking to lose an eye in the process. A sharp stick and confident posture might be enough to hold the line just long enough. And finally, your mind. The human brain is your evolutionary superpower. Hyenas rely on numbers and instinct. You rely on pattern recognition, problem solving, and something else they can't match, long-term memory. You can learn. You can adapt. And that's your only chance, because the pack isn't done with you yet. You've found shelter, a narrow crevice under a rock shelf, just wide enough to crawl into. Your hands are blistered from gripping frozen bark. You managed a spark. The fire is small, flickering, but alive. It's your only light, your only weapon. And your last hope of looking like more than prey. The laughter has stopped. Not a good sign. Hyenas are strategic. If they've gone silent, they're changing tactics. You've got minutes, maybe seconds before they test your defenses. So now you have a choice to make. The same one early humans probably made hundreds of times. Do you defend your shelter? Or set a trap? Let's say you bluff. You grab your torch, raise it high, make noise. You scream, snarl, beat the fire against the ground like a wild animal yourself. It works for now. They back off. But your burning energy and the fire won't last. Sooner or later, they'll realize you're just one tired creature clutching a stick. They'll test you again, harder, but what if you flip the script? You find a deep snow pit nearby, maybe an old animal track or collapsed den. You cover it with sticks, dried brush, anything light enough to hold for a few seconds. Then bait. A scrap of meat, a torn hide, even your scent. You lead them in. If one falls, you buy time. Maybe you scare the pack off altogether. They may be bold, but they're not stupid. They know a risky kill isn't worth a broken leg, and yet both choices come with a price. Exhaustion, exposure, time lost. And the hyenas? They never work alone. If one fails, two more take its place. But this time, the rules have changed. You're not just trying to survive, you're trying to win. The fire is dying, the trap is set. And now, they're coming. No more laughter, no more circling. Just the soft, surgical crunch of paws against snow. You grip your sharpened branch tighter, your breath shallow, heart thundering in your ears. One shadow detaches from the tree line, then another. And another. 5 of them. Full-grown, scarred, hungry. They don't rush. They're not in a hurry. They've done this before. The lead hyena steps forward. It's massive, bigger than you imagined. Its breath steams in the frigid air. Its yellow eyes locked on yours. It's testing you now. One step forward. Pause. Another step. Pause. You raise the torch. It flinches. But only slightly. Behind you, the fire crackles weakly. The shadows dance faster now, flickering across the snow. The other hyenas are spreading out. You know what's coming. A coordinated push. 2 from the sides, 1 from behind, 1 as a distraction. You yell, loud, not a scream, a challenge. You brandish your torch and jab your spear. The alpha stops. Its ears twitch. There's a shift in the pack. Confusion. They expected weakness. Instead, they're seeing resistance. Maybe even danger. One lunges from the right. Just as planned. It hits the snow trap. Legs buckling beneath it, and vanishes with a snap and a yelp. The pack erupts in chaos, growls, retreat. You don't chase, you stand your ground. Fire high. Feet wide, blood pumping. They back off. Not out of fear but respect. You're not food. Not tonight. As silence returns. You realize something ancient and deep. This is how our ancestors earned survival. Not with strength. Not with speed, but by making monsters hesitate. You survive. Barely. No weapons. No help. Just instinct, ingenuity, and the stubborn will not to be eaten. And maybe now you understand something our ancestors knew all too well. In the Ice Age, survival wasn't about dominance, it was about strategy, about knowing when to run, when to fight, and when to outthink the thing hunting you. The ancient hyena wasn't a joke. It wasn't a side character in the food chain. It was intelligent, organized, unrelenting. And the only reason you're here today? Because humans learned to adapt faster than they could. So the next time you hear that eerie, laughing call in a wildlife documentary, remember, once upon a time that sound meant death. If you enjoyed this prehistoric survival challenge, hit that like button and let us know. Could you have survived the Ice Age? Drop your answer in the comments. Fight, flee, or freeze. And if you want more epic you versus history adventures, subscribe and join the tribe. We've got ancient predators, forgotten battles, and survival stories that make modern life look easy. You've faced the Ice Age. Now, are you ready for what's next?